Hey, good evening, everybody. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap 3 times. All right, very good. Hey, we are so glad to welcome you to True North. Courtney's here. Everybody say hi to Courtney. Courtney, what is the biggest thing going on in your week? Biggest, brightest thing happening? Are you turned on?
We went to the apple orchard with Ellie's school on Tuesday.
The apple orchard. All right. Hey, everybody, and Ellie may want some of this. We've got some from the New Day Conference. Harding left some pens and some chapstick. If anybody, you seem more excited about chapstick than anybody else. There you go. All right. So anybody during the 4-minute party, you can come and get the chapstick or pens out of here. Or when you leave today, there's a box back there, and you can get that. And we're going to have Zach and Alex are going to be passing out the chapstick back there. So you guys run back there at the end to pass that out. Anybody that wants another thing of chapstick, I already gave somebody over here. I got one more for this side right over here. All right, Ethan says he wants it. Okay, I have no idea. Is it flavored? I have no idea. Maybe just be regular chapstick. You can try it out. But it's from Harding University. So there you go. You can come and get that a little bit later. Hey, we've got a lot of guests here tonight, and we have some folks that I just met for the first time. We're glad to have you here, and for anybody that may be tuning in online, we want to welcome you to True North. Anybody that's got a cell phone, if you can turn that off so it's not a distraction, that would be super helpful. And then, because at True North, we always say, screens down. All right, very good. If you've got a drink, we've already had a spill tonight. If you've got a drink, even if it's a fast food place, it's got a lid on it. It needs to be in a bottle or a closed container. But if you got a drink, just hold on to it. Throw it away during the 4-minute party here in a second, and that's going to help us out with that. That would be that'll be great. I have no idea. I lost my list of what's happening next year. Okay. Hey, look up here, everybody. Adults in the back as well. During the 4-minute party, Kate and maybe some friends will be over at this table. The City of Children just had its 50th anniversary celebration. Many of you have been to the City of Children. They have these 50th anniversary tea towels, and they left them with us to try to sell some of them because they did not want to take them back to Mexico. So these are $10 tea towels. They're awesome. Anybody wants a $10 tea towel, you can get those. And if you'd like a packet, if you'd like a pack of greeting cards that come, they're designed by the kids at the home. They're all different. Here are the greeting cards. And if you can want to get those are $15. There are shirts, some that are specifically 50th anniversary shirts. Those are $15. Every bit of that is going to go to the City of Children. And listen very carefully to all the adults in the back as well. Until December the 31st, an anonymous donor has given what will be the largest gift ever to the City of Children. They've said that through December 31st, they will match dollar for dollar any gift that is given up to a total of $250,000. So if we raise $250,000, it becomes immediately $500,000. I can do math. I can do that math pretty easily. Yeah. It becomes $500,000. So anybody that is inclined in the back of the room that would like to give anything to the City of Children this year, please do it by December 31st, and all of that goes to every dollar goes to the City of Children. So does this. But if you got it, say got it. So Kate and somebody will be over here to collect that, and then we'll pack that up and take it back to Mexico where people can buy it there. Okay, here's what we have: our teen greeters. Come on up here, teen greeters. We have some folks that are teen greeters. They know who they are. They're going to be up here. They've got a Baskin-Robbins gift card for you, just for you. If it is your first time visiting and you are here as a first-time guest, or if you came before but you have never gotten your gift card, then feel free to come up and get it here in a second. We're all going to stand up and meet one another for what we call the 4-minute party. During that, you got one job. Your job is to meet the people in front of you and behind you. Try not to wander too far from your seats, but just try to look at the person behind you and in front of you. Meet the people around you, especially somebody that you don't know. It is not that difficult. Everybody willing to play along? Adults, we want you to do the same thing. Everybody, it's time to get up out of your seats and let's have a 4-minute party. Let's go.
Hey, what's poppin'? What's going on? What's good? So I think it's pretty awesome that we're both here at True North tonight. I also think it's pretty awesome, like, how, like, awesome you look. Because, like, you look, like, phenomenal. I'm not just saying that. You look great. You look pretty nice. I'm at a loss for words, to be entirely honest. Alright, bye.
Hi, Miss Andy.
I just want to say happy birthday to Kylie Jones, my daughter, who I know is watching, maybe not live right now, but she is going to watch probably later on tonight, maybe with me. But anyway, happy birthday, Kylie. Happy 21.
All right. How many of you, in fact, did meet somebody you have never met? Raise your hand. If you, in fact, met someone. You got it? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. We can do better. I long for the day that like half the room says, I met somebody. I met at least 4 people that I didn't know. It's not that difficult. Some of you in the room are getting older. Some of you are getting older. It's time for our birthdays in the borough. Anybody that has a birthday from September the 10th to the 16th, come on up. All right, let's pass these out here.
All right.
We have several birthdays. We're going to hand you guys. There's one. Courtney's coming with you. There you go, Landon.
For you.
There you go. How many of you already have your own for your birthday? How many of you already have your own Abraham Lincoln? All right. How many of you have 2 of these? Like you've already been, have we been through 2 birthdays? Is it time for another one? You don't think so? How many of you are still waiting to get one of these? You just haven't been here on your birthday. Well, all right. Work it out. We can make it happen. Everybody here gets a Abraham Lincoln, you're still cool sticker for your birthday. We're going to sing happy birthday to these folks. How old? 18, 13, 18, 15. So we have 2 18-year-olds. We have a brand new teenager and a learner's permit on the way. Is that right? Has it happened yet? Okay, all right, very good. We're going to sing happy birthday to them, and the way we do it in the NBYG is with 3 simple words, Courtney, and those words are?
You're still cool.
And it goes like this.
Well, you're 1 year older than you
Sing it out.
used to be, and you're still cool.
Come on, let's sing it. You still got it. It's plain to see. Here we go. You're still cool. Come on. Get your birthday today. That's why we're here to say, come on, that you're still cool. Everybody say happy birthday. All right, good job. Y'all have a good one. So, birthdays. Our new birthday segment. We need you to send some in. We're calling it Birthday Party Blast from the Past. Birthday Party Blast. I like that song. That's good. Okay. Here we go. Here's our blast from the past. Anybody want to guess? Anybody want to guess who this is? You're pointing. What do you say, McCall? Yeah, this is Courtney right here. There's Courtney.
It's me.
How old were you in this picture?
I think 2.
2 years old.
Two
We have another one. That looks just like Ellie, doesn't it? When I texted you that and you were like, really? You don't see it?
Nobody ever says it, but a little bit in this picture.
How many of you think that looks just like Ellie? If you know Ellie, you should be raising your hand. Where is that birthday party at? It looks like you were at Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, that was a good one.
Wow. All right, so I believe we have one of you sent one in. And here we are. Somebody tell us who this is. It doesn't take long to figure it out. Do what? Yes, that is Landon Qualls. That is Landon Qualls. Is this, I'm assuming this is with your grandfather, is that right? Great-grandfather. Wow, that's awesome. Now, that's a lovely, tender picture. I have to admit, I was a little freaked out by that. I can imagine, how old were you in this birthday? Could you imagine you're 2 years old, and you turn around, and that is that a cake or a piñata? Oh, I'm disappointed. I thought it was a cake. I was like, if it's a cake, it's going to remind me of this one here. I don't know what's going on there. Or you have this one, you buy the kit, and somebody wrote in and said it did not come with enough red icing. They didn't have enough red icing. And then this is what you're going for on the Spider-Man cake. Sorry, Doug. Doug? Happy birthday, Doug. I don't know what's going on. That is too scary. This one is awesome because it looks like Spider-Man saved that cake from falling. He's single-handedly holding up that cake. That may have been meant to look like that on purpose. I'm not exactly sure. Okay. That's frightening. That should not be allowed for a birthday. Wait, how'd that get in there? Who put that in there? Sorry, we'll keep moving on. I don't know how that got in there. Hey, tomorrow's Thursday, which means what?
Time for Panera!
How many of you have been to Panera this year? I mean, for the girl. I mean, not just Panera in general. All right, how many are going to go tomorrow? All right, how many of you are going to bring somebody with you tomorrow? I appreciate the honesty. Campbell's like, I'll be there. I've been there. I was there last week. I'm going tomorrow. Who's bringing somebody? Okay. All right. Very good. Etta Claire, okay. She was still raising her hand back there. I don't know if she had a question about Panera. So what are you all, tell the girls, if a girl's here and they say, I don't know, should I go to that? Give them 3 reasons why they should go to Panera on Thursdays.
Okay. 1, awesome girls and awesome relationship building time while we talk about anything that's going on in our lives. So last week we got to share kind of a little bit more detail of what's going on, and it was really good to just get to see what everybody's struggling with. And you know Kennedy, she's nodding her head.
Okay.
So that's 1. 2, that's a lot. We get a Bible study.
Okay, good.
So we add some Bible in there, and then
They're playing
really
charades. They're like telling.
some really good food from Panera. That's
What were
3.
you eating? Were you just? Oh, okay. I don't know if that was just a charade sign for eating or if it was a specific dish. Panera makes mac and cheese? Is it good? Hey, who has the best? Raise your hand. Don't shout it out. If I'm looking for the best mac and cheese, not your grandmother or your mom or your dad or your aunt. If I'm looking to go to a restaurant and I want the best mac and cheese in Murfreesboro, I want to hear 4 answers really fast. 4 answers. Kenton, Jim and Nick's. Okay, that's good. That's strong. Yes, Lily.
KFC.
KFC. All right, very good. It's been a long time since I've had KFCs. Yeah, Tatum. Carrabba's. Okay, Beckham. Trader Joe's boxed mac and cheese. Okay, all right, nice. McCall. Nukes. Nukes is good. Nukes is good. All right, good. But Panera's got mac and cheese. Hey, guys, I have some bad news. By now, you already know the bad news. I'm really, really sorry to admit that to say that tomorrow's event that I've been so excited about has been canceled. But listen carefully before we all get too sad. Sean McDowell's booking agent, his scheduler, called me and said, "Look, this has never happened in the 12 years that I've worked with him that this has had to happen." And he said, "Sean's going to call you later on today." Sean did call me and explained the situation to me, and he was very gracious, and he was very heartbroken and full of regrets. So we are working on to reschedule this, and we don't know if it's going to be in the spring. There's a chance it'll be in the spring, or there's a chance it'll be next September. But he says, I am coming back. I'm going to make this right, and I'm going to be back with you all. And he sends his regrets. I know many of you say, I wasn't all that excited because I don't even know who that is. I've told you before, and I really do mean this. For me, as a minister and one who reads and listens to podcasts and listens to people that talk about Jesus and all things in culture regarding Christianity, I was excited about Sean McDowell coming here as some of you would have been, had a member of One Direction been coming to talk about music. to me, it would have been that big of a deal to have him here. We had a group that called me today, this morning, before I found out. They were bringing 75 people from Franklin to come down. Another group was bringing people from Kentucky. A group from Chattanooga was coming up. 2 places from Nashville. 14 churches were going to simulcast and join. Many of you had said, I'm bringing somebody and bringing a friend. It was going to be great, and it's going to be great. And we'll let you know very soon when it's going to be. But we're trying to get the word out. I'm going to be here tomorrow. I'm going to be here tomorrow night at 5:30 in case people show up for this event, because somebody's going to show up, and I just hope they haven't driven from, Florida or somewhere to be here. But I'm going to be here. And if anybody wants to join me and bring your dinner tomorrow, and we'll sit in here together and we'll hang out and we'll pray for Sean and for his family, and we won't stay long. We'll just stay long enough to let people know that walk up here, sorry, the event that you hope was happening is not happening. But we'd love to pray for you or bless you in whatever way we can. So anybody that wants to join, I'll be up here to let people know. But it's been canceled. Can we move on to something more exciting? This is definitely more exciting, everybody. I've been waiting on this all day. So EEM, tell everybody what we're trying to do in the month of September, Courtney. We're collecting money, and what's happening?
We're trying to raise $1,000, right, for Eastern European Missions Bibles to give to anybody who needs one in the schools.
Yeah, all of these countries that are marked here they have public schools that are wanting Bibles and Bible materials. EEM, there's all the stats, and we're trying to raise $1,000 in the month of September. We got really close last week. Last Sunday, the first Sunday, we collected $779 so that we could put Bibles like this in the hands of children all the way up to college students, because EEM believes that they want everybody to have a copy of God's Word. Let me tell you this really quickly. In 1995, I've shared with you many stories about the summer that I spent in Ukraine. We went and we packaged Bibles, and we took paperback Bibles to give away. The people there showed up. We put an ad in the paper that was about this big in the paper, and 400 people showed up. We could only take about 50 to sign them up as readers to study English using the book of Luke as our text, and we would read through the Gospel of Luke for 6 weeks. They would come 3 times a week or 2 times a week, and we would study through the Gospel of Luke. I was about 24 years old, and I was so humbled to see people 7 years old, 17, 37, and 77 that showed up. And every time we put a Bible in their hand, more people than not wept when we put a Bible in their hands. And that profoundly changed me with an understanding of what God's Word was all about. And that's why I'm so passionate about this. So here's what happened. The 11th graders, you gave $24.07 this past Sunday. 10th graders, $39. All right, then in next place, the 7th and 8th grade girls with $43.51. Then in next place, the 7th and 8th grade boys with $69.39. That leaves 2 grades. So in 5th place, second place. 1, 2, 3, yeah. In second place, check this out. Check this out. The 12th grade, $2,040, which means 9th grade, $2,148. That is a total last Sunday of $4,363.97 for a total so far of $5,143.47. And we now have 3 $1,000 matches and 1 $500 match that are already committed. You guys, that's amazing. That's something worth celebrating. Good job. Really, 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 really good job. So some of you say we've reached our goal. Does that mean we stop? No. It does mean 9th grade, you and seniors are getting donuts again, because we said if any class raised $175 in 1 week, then you are going to get donuts. So you'll be getting donuts next Sunday. So there you go. There's our total. That's really, really awesome. Okay, let's move on, everybody. It's time for some picks of the week. Picks of the week. How many of you know what this is? Who knows what that is? Anybody? Yeah, what is it? Yes, that is Trash Mountain, otherwise known as Mount Trashmore. It's been in the news recently. Apparently it's. Can somebody tell me what's happening with this? Somebody tells me it's going away in 5 years. They're shipping it all away somewhere. What's happening? They have no more room, and we have a trash crisis. And somebody said, what are we going to do with Trash Mountain if all of our trash gets shipped off somewhere else? And so these 4 ideas were sent to me. I don't know. You do what you want to with them. We could do this. That was one of them. I thought that was nice. Here's another one. We just make a ski slope. We get the slopes at Mount Trashmore and just slide down. I like this one, Six Flags Mount Trashmore. That one was exciting. The last 2 are we build a ballpark, the Mount Trashmore Stinkers, right there in the middle. It's a good place for a park. It fits so perfectly, somebody's incredible Photoshop skills. I think my favorite one, though, was Trash Mountain. Splash and Trash Mountain. There we go. That looks fun, too. I don't know. Maybe you've got some ideas. But now it's time for That Escalated Quickly. Oh, I just love that. I love that music. I want that to be a ringtone on my phone. I'm going to go ahead and warn you all, the second one of these videos I almost didn't show. You just need to know in the second video, everybody's okay. Everybody's fine. But let's watch the first one. This guy's trying to remove a hornet's nest out of some trees. He's got a bag. He's trying to scoop that hornet's nest into that bag. And let's see how that goes. Oh, he's got one, and just one little, there we go. Oh. Yep. I don't know what happened after that.
Oh, no.
I don't know what happened to that. Hey, here's the one that I debated. Man, I'm going to regret this. But you just need to know everybody's okay. Okay? Everybody's okay. All right. This guy says, I'm going to try to kick the can off the kid's head. And he's okay. He's okay. He's okay. I probably should not show that again, should I? I should not. Should I? Don't show it again. You missed it? You're the closest people to the stage. All right, just for you. If you want to look away, you can look away. Here we go. Oh, wrong one. Here we go. Sorry. Oh. He's okay. He is okay. I didn't even know that your head could do that. All right, and here we go. Oh, y'all, this next one, this is so true. This is so true. That is exactly what happens at the guys' retreat. They're gone. All right, there you go. That escalated quickly. We have it's been a while since we've done Well Played. You've never seen this one, have you? What do you think happens? What do you think happens, Courtney, on Well Played? Take a guess.
I have no idea.
No, you got to have a guess. You have to guess. Well played. Well played.
Somebody does something really good.
Okay, so somebody did something really good. You might say that. This was sent to us by Daniel Jones and Ben. Well, look at that. That's really good. That's really impressive. Did you know that I sent this to Pringles? What? I did. I sent this to Pringles and I said, hey, shout out to my friend Ben. I haven't heard back from him yet. But I just said, this looks like a commercial to me. This would be a great Pringles commercial. But there you go. That was well played. This was me with 4 Christian University presidents the other night. We had the presidents of Freed-Hardeman, Harding University, Lipscomb University, and Lubbock Christian University, and yes, thank you for that golf clap. So that was good. I think it was well played by them. Maybe not me. Okay, now everybody, it's time for some good news. Oh, crank it up. It's got to be louder than that. Am I the only one that this song makes you happier?
I knew that I would not.
Here we go. Get ready.
So good, so good.
Oh,
I got you.
all right. Y'all are going to have to stand up. Like, everybody's got to see what's going on up here. Maybe. Well, I don't care. They can see all four of them. Okay, here we go. We have some good news. First of all, we have some Bible bowlers in the house right here. Let's see. So Madeline Holton, Ryder Park, Jack Thompson, and Adley Watson, stand up. They are our senior age group semifinalists. That's pretty impressive. Everybody give them a big hand. So here are the little kids, the younger ones. The younger ones are making the happy face, and then they wanted the bigger ones to do that. They look thrilled, especially Jack. Jack looked so thrilled to be at Bible Bowl. Jack, but you know, the only person that was more entertaining in this picture, if you scoot over, there was the girl beside. She did not like this picture being taken. I don't know what's going on there. So anyway, there we go. There, our Bible Bowlers. Congratulations. You guys did really, really well. That was great. Wait, how'd that get in there? Who put that in there? How does this keep happening? How does my granddaughter keep photobombing all of this? All right. Hey, we have some other good news. Our own Kate Schroer had her 1,000th kill for Seagull Volleyball. Pretty impressive. That is good news.
So good, I got you.
All right. So that was exciting. That's pretty impressive. That is not easily done. And then we have, did I have another one? Oh, you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to get one from each side. One from each side. So find one over there, and the one over here will be our last one. Get some good news over there. Who's got some good news? Come on, somebody's got to have some good news.
Right.
Okay. I already saw Elizabeth back there. Elizabeth, stand up. Wait, did you do it last week? Oh, you didn't? Okay, all right. Did you have some good news too? Oh, okay. I was going to say we're going to share your good news as well.
Okay.
We got good news.
Yes, Maddie's cousin had a baby and she was born 4 months early, but she's healthy.
Oh, okay. That is good news.
So good, I got you.
All right, we have Elizabeth's got some good news. She got a 92 on her American history test. That is it, everybody. That's it for good news.
So good,
There we go.
so good,
This is the end.
I got you.
All right, that was it. Are we still workshopping this? By next week we're ready. Next week, you're ready? Do we have the tag at the end? Guys, do we have the bumper at the end? Anybody paying attention back there? Do we have the bumper at the end? We got it? You all stand up. Oh, here it is. Let's see it.
So
Oh,
good,
but you missed it.
I got you.
No, wait. They say start it over. They say start it again. Here we go. Go.
So good, so good, I got you.
I like it. That was good. All right, good job. You all work on it. That's great. We'll keep moving on. That was good stuff. Lots of exciting news there. Hey, speaking of fun news, everybody, it's getting closer and closer and closer. Our fall retreat. October 13th to the 15th, the early bird rate. We hope to put the link up tomorrow or Friday. By Friday, it will be up. We'll text you and let you know that it's up. All right? There will be a prize for the first person to pay in full. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that now. And then $80 if you pay by September 30th. This is going to be your first fall retreat.
Yes, I'm really excited.
Right? Okay. So what are you looking forward to about the fall retreat?
Everybody tells me quiet time is the best.
Okay. Wow. Okay, good. We do have some really awesome solo time there at the retreat. And Brendan Alexander's already signed up to do the bonfire. I spoke to our speaker last night. We refined our theme. And I was this excited about it before. Now I'm this excited about it. And we hope to know more about that next week. we hope to have a video of our speaker who will send us a video to show you by next week. So everybody be looking for info on the fall retreat. And then, all right, let's do this. Let's do this, everybody. It's Wild Times with Nathan Land. Wild Times with Nathan Land. Let's hold that mic up real close, Nathan, so we can hear you. Take it away.
So this one time I went to Sonic after True North, and so I was hanging out with my friends, as you do, and I decided to sit down. That was a mistake because ants started to bite my feet. And in my panic to get my shoes off, I accidentally knocked a Route 44 root beer out of Ethan's hands, and it exploded on the ground. Wild times.
That was good. That was good. I think my favorite part of Nathan's version of Wild Times is, and I think he's done it at least every time. Please continue when you say, as you do. I sat down at Sonic, as you do. I just like that. Please continue doing that. That's great. Okay, really excited about this. Are you about ready? We have a couple of things. One of these things right now is a really big deal. That was really good. I think I was so distracted by what was about to happen, I missed maybe the best one ever. Was that really about the best one ever? That was really good. All right, check it out, everybody. Look what came in the mail today. For those of you who have no idea why this is exciting, one of our graduates of the class of 2023, Chandler Maples, is a recruit, and he is in basic training right now at Parris Island for the Marines. And he sent us a letter. He sent me a letter. We're not going to read that one. That was good, but this one is for you. That one is for me. And this one here, he wanted his sister to read. So we're going to give you a microphone, and you're going to, if you don't mind, here, I'll hold the microphone for you so that you can focus on that. And then we have a bonus letter that just arrived to your mom. I've not read this one yet, so maybe I should edit it before I read it out loud. But this one's great. Let's hear from Chandler, everybody. Here we go.
NBYG, first off, thank you for your prayers. I really need them sometimes because it gets really busy here. I was told Sarah would be reading this, so strap in and whatnot, because my handwriting is awful, haha. By the time y'all get this, I should be learning water combat survival. It's pretty much a week full of swimming. Sounds fun, but it's really difficult. We have to swim in full camo gear, boots and all. This whole experience has been fun, but hard. So hard that it sometimes gets really emotional. I think back to how easy life was when I was back home and how blessed I was to be in such a great youth group. During these emotional times, I realized that I only have God. I don't have mom, dad, skid, or friends. They are all home. I have God and prayer. Prayer has completely changed my time here. I have been talking to God every chance I got because I know He's listening. God is the only one that cares about how I feel. He is the only one that can help. Prayer is so much more powerful than I thought it could be. As you continue through school, I urge you to develop a strong prayer life with God. Don't just ask for things like a genie, but also talk to Him. Now I'm going to steal Cooper's bit. It's time for Wild Times with Chandler Maples. About a week ago, my platoon was learning martial arts. We had finished, and it was time for a bathroom break. When we have to go to the bathroom, we have to bring our canteens. Canteens are water bottles. So I grabbed my canteen and went inside the porta-john. I set my canteen on the toilet paper holder. When I was finished, I went to grab my canteens, and one of them fell in the bowl. I then had to explain this to my drill instructor, who then proceeded to train me a little extra. Wild times, haha. Thank y'all again for your prayers. I hope the kidnapping was fun. Remember to create a stronger prayer life with God. It will go so much further than you think. I hope Sarah didn't butcher my letter. LOL.
Well played.
Love you, Sarah. Chandler.
Very sweet, very sweet. All right. So you can leave that up here so we can save that. Thank you very much. Good job. Very good. And this one here I've not read yet. I've not read. You're good. Thank you. Thank you. He says, hey, Skid, I just got your postcard. I also heard about the great things that you all are doing for me. I've been getting so many letters from the NBYG. I'm just now reading that, so good job. Below is another letter for the youth group. And, I gave him a challenge. I told him to pick a row, left or right, and a seat number, and that person is going to get NBYG bucks. And we're going to give them, I can't remember what I told him. Well, this is a big deal, so we're going to say 30 NBYG bucks. Somebody's about to get 30. I hope somebody's sitting in the magic seat. To the NBYG, thank you for all the letters. They boost me in so many ways. The Bible verses you've sent have been so helpful. To thank you even more, I'm going to help give out some NBYG bucks at the end of this letter. Right now, I'm currently on swim week. This week focuses on how to survive if you have to abandon ship or if you are in a water combat situation. It is so much fun. That may be sarcasm, I don't know. Now for the NBYG bucks. If you are looking at the stage, I was always on the right side. Now, of course, I'm not going to choose my seat. Go 3 rows back. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Ooh, we're narrowing it down. And I want you to go 6 seats over from the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kennedy Walker. Kennedy Walker, congratulations. You just won NBYG bucks from Chandler. I miss the NBYG so much. Advice for the 7th graders. Do not take this group for granted. This group is what made me what made me so spiritually mature. Please keep praying for me as I pray for you. And again, thank you for the prayers and letters. It impacts me so much more than you could ever imagine. All right, from Chandler, everybody, good job. Congratulations. We'll get those to you at the end. Vicki will have those for you. You'll need to see her in the back. Chandler, we love you. You may watch this after the fact. And Sarah, we continue to pray for you and your family and for Chandler. That's it. We have one more thing that is a really big deal. Oh, man. Y'all, this is so... Now I'm beginning to realize we just had a bunch of knuckleheads that graduated. I think this is, you all are straightening this all out, and this is real. I'm so excited. I'm so impressed. Okay, everybody, this really is important. Every Sunday, you all give in baskets that look like this. We've had several children that have cycled through and have had to leave the home at the City of Children. Some of you have been to the City of Children. Specifically, our current juniors and seniors are the only ones that would have been, and adults in the back. Everybody else, you may get your chance one day, but we now have a new child. Those of you that went last year, you'll be excited, I think, because I'm glad to present to you the new child that will be sponsored by those of us at the City of Children. Here he is, Mr. Alan Hernandez. We call him Alan, but his name is Alan Hernandez. He's 9 years old. If you say, I don't recognize him, here's a better picture of him. He was our magic carpet, and there he is right there. He was one of the genie assistants there, and so we'll be sponsoring Alan. So this Sunday, we're giving to Bibles for EEM still, but starting in October, all money goes to Alan. Okay, everybody, there you go. That was it. You feel good? That was good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, we're going to be transitioning into worship here in just a moment. I'm going to show you a video. Let's just turn the lights out in the back of the room, and then we'll get ready to watch this video. I wanted to find a way to set up our worship tonight. If you're one of our singers, why don't you come on and take your place right up here, and we are going to show a short clip here to get us ready for our worship. I want to show some pictures first, guys, so if we can go back to the PowerPoint for just a moment before we do that. And then I'm going to show, we'll show a video here in just a second. I want you to meet 2 people that we've talked about at True North before. The 2 people that you see on your screen are Mark Sasserville and Heather Penny. She went by the nickname Lucky. Most people called her Lucky. These were 2 air guardsmen on 9/11 in 2001. Early on, before many of you in the room, of course, were born. But you have heard a lot this particular week as we celebrate another year of remembrance of the events of 9/11. These were F-16 fighter pilots, and they were told on this particular day that there was one other plane that was still in the air, United Flight 93. United Flight 93 could not be located initially. They finally located it. They realized it was headed towards Washington, D.C., and they anticipated that it was either going to be headed to the Capitol or the White House. They knew the Pentagon had already been hit. The two trade towers in Washington, D.C., New York had already been hit, and they speculated that this plane, 93, was going to the Capitol or the White House. They loaded up in these two F-16s, knowing that there was no time to arm them with missiles. But Mark and Heather loaded up into their plane, and they knew when she said, "We don't have missiles, do we?" And he said to her, "We are the missiles." They took off, and knowing that their mission was to find this plane, and they knew that it was not going to land, they knew that it was probably meant to be a weapon. And to save the maximum number of lives, the decision was made, we're going to have to likely take out this plane. Mark says, "I will go for the cockpit, and you go for the tail. And we'll have to take this plane out of the air." They took off anticipating that they were going to be giving their lives to save the lives of many. What they didn't realize is that decision had already been made by the passengers on United Flight 93. CBS runs a story about them pretty often, and this is just a small clip of a 30-minute interview you can find on YouTube. A small clip you're only going to hear from Heather as she talks about what she thinks about when she thinks about their sacrifice and that day. And let's take a moment and watch this clip.
Finally tonight, as we mark 22 years since the September 11th attacks, we wanted to revisit the story of two fighter pilots who were prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice to defend the nation's capital. Lieutenant General Mark Sassville and then First Lieutenant Heather Penny scrambled F-16s without time to load missiles, looking for a rogue aircraft like Flight 93. They knew they might need to ram the plane, a decision they never had to make.
When I think about the mission that we didn't have to do, because the passengers on Flight 93 did. Clearly, not only does our nation owe so much to those heroes, but Sass and I owe our lives to them as well. They shouldn't have had to have made the choice to sacrifice their lives. But that's also why, when I think of 9/11, instead of being overcome by the trauma and the horror and the tragedy, I'm actually overcome by hope because of the character and the bravery and the service to all of us that they demonstrated that day, and the other heroes of 9/11, the first responders and neighbors that opened up their homes to strangers. That the best of who we are was demonstrated on that day, and that's part of what I hope to live through my daily choices and to honor their legacy and their gift to us. So in some ways, living my life as normally as possible is the biggest way that we can say that the terrorists did not win.
And we remember the heroes of that tragic day and those who lost their lives. We leave you tonight with this video of a rainbow over Lower Manhattan, where the towers once stood.
That day is a significant day for our family. It was the day that our middle daughter Annabelle was born on 2001, and all of this was unfolding while we were at the hospital. One of the sights that we saw a few days after the attacks, and as that rubble began to clear, this picture emerged and began to make its way around, because from that rubble came these beams that were uncovered and left completely intact. This cross was pulled out of the rubble and placed in the middle of the recovery works, all the first responders, and daily many of them would meet for a time of spontaneous worship and prayer or meditation or silence. It was placed in the 9/11 museum in 2014 when that museum, I believe, is about when that museum opened or close to that. There was a lawsuit by a group of atheists that sought to have this cross removed, citing that it was offensive to have this symbol inside this museum that was supposed to be so sacred, which I found that wording to be very ironic. A judge looked at all the evidence and said the cross can stay. And he said, because this is not a statement about advocating one religion, he said it's not a violation of the separation of church and state. Here was the quote that he said. I'm going to get the exact words wrong, but he said, that cross is going to stay because the history of this event would not be complete without that moment being captured. The history of that event would not be complete without knowing that this was pulled out of the rubble and was meaningful to so many people. And I just thought as we come together tonight, what we're doing is doing the same thing. We're honoring someone who went on a mission so that we did not have to give our lives. Just like Heather Lucky Penny said, I think about the mission that I did not have to complete. And so that's what we're doing, guys. In worship right now, we're just reflecting on a mission to die that we did not have to complete because it was done for us. So I hope worship is always meaningful to you. I hope it means something a little bit more as we sing a few songs. We're going to ask that we stand together. We'll dim the lights and we'll continue to sing a little bit more as we remember the one who offered his life for us. Light of the world, you set down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that made this heart adore you. Oh, love of life sent with you. And here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all days, also highly exalted, glorious in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth you created, all for our sake became poor. And here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Beauty that made this heart adore you. Oh, love of life sent with you. Before we sing another song, I want to take just a moment to pause for a prayer for a friend of one of our students. Some of you know Case Gentry, one of our nbyg students, and a good friend whose name is John Hare. John was in a car accident, a severe car accident this past weekend with some severe head trauma, and is in the hospital in Nashville. Received some good news today. His condition is still critical, and there's still some swelling on the brain. And anytime a friend of our friend is hurting, we want to pray for them. We also want to pray for Mr. Murr Quinberg, grandfather of several of our students. Many of you know Mr. Murr, who comes around and takes attendance or works in the workroom. And Murr is a long-time servant of nbyg. He had to return back to the hospital following some surgery that he had last week. And so we're just going to pause right now, and we're going to say a prayer for Murr and a prayer for John. And I'm going to give you a few moments of silence to pray for. There's lots of requests that a lot of people have. And we're just going to let you lift those up silently as we pause for them. Let's pray. God, we ask that you hear our prayer as we come together as one group. We believe that the prayers of many are meaningful. We know that the prayer of a righteous person is effective. And God, we just ask that you hear us as we lift up John and his family, all the doctors, nurses, technicians, all the equipment that is helping to keep him alive. God, we acknowledge that that is a blessing. But God, we acknowledge you as the great physician and you as the healer. God, I'm thankful that he has friends like Case, who I know are motivating him to continue to live and looking forward to his return. God, I pray for Case and all of the friends of John who are struggling, to please be with John's family and be with Murr. And be with Mr. Murr as he's recovering back in the hospital, helping to figure out why he's not feeling well. God, we just ask for his safe return back to us, as several of his grandchildren have asked us to be mindful of him. God, there's lots of requests, lots of stuff on our heart. And so for the next few moments, God, would you just hear these as we lift them to you from our hearts. And God, hear these prayers. God, even in this silence, you just heard, I'm guessing, a lot of heaviness, a lot of concerns, maybe some adoration, maybe some confession, maybe some thanksgiving. But God, we ask that you would speak words of peace and comfort to everything that we just lifted up, and bring healing to those that need it. It's through Jesus that we pray, and we all say together, amen. This one may be a new song that some of our praise team will help us. You guys can just join in and join in. Let's sing together. Your life laid down, crucified, your arms stretched out and open wide. You rescued me so I could be a child of God. From nail-pierced hands and thorn-pierced brow, your blood flows down to me somehow. It cleanses me so I can be a child of God. Praise to the Lamb that was slain. Praise to the Father who gave His Son away. The proof of love, the price of grace. You traded all to take my place. You died for me so I could be a child of God. Your life laid down, crucified, your arms stretched out and open wide. You rescued me so I could be a child of God. From nail-pierced hands and thorn-pierced brow, your blood flows down to me somehow. It cleanses me so I can be a child of God. Praise to the Lamb that was slain. Praise to the Father who gave His Son away. The proof of love, the price of grace. You traded all to take my place. You died for me so I could be a child of God. Oh, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know
You are holy. You are holy. And you are mighty. You are mighty. You are worthy. You are worthy. Worthy of praise. Worthy of praise. And I will follow. I will follow. And I will listen. I will listen. And I will love you. I will love you. All of my days. Had it not been the Lord who was on our side, had it not been the Lord who was on our side, the anger of the enemy would have swallowed us alive. Had it not been the Lord who was on our side.
Hey, good job. We're going to continue. Am I back on? Okay, good. Sorry. We're going to continue our series that we've been doing on the book of Nehemiah. Rise and build. Most of you have your brick. If not, you can always walk up there anytime and get it. Remember, before True North starts, grab your brick, get a Sharpie. If you're a guest and it's your very first time and you're like, oh, wow, I want to get a brick, feel free to grab a brick and write your name on one, get a Sharpie. Again, anybody can go up there at any time and grab yours. There's a lot of them on the stage. Even there's a lot of people here in the room tonight, and we're excited to have so many of you here. Some of you have written some things down on your brick, and the question has been asked, hey, I've missed a couple of weeks. Am I going to know what to write on my brick? And the answer is yes. We're going to put everything that goes on your brick on a sheet of paper, so eventually you can get it all on there. If you're just joining this series, tonight's your first night, or if you missed a couple of weeks, you're going to have a chance to write it all down there. This brick is going home with you when we're done. So feel free to get your brick, look at it, and hold on to it. Just don't let it be a major distraction. We're going kind of methodically through the book of Nehemiah, and I really want to say I appreciate the way that you all have followed along, and you've said, hey, I'm interested in what's being said. I'm making some notes. I didn't think this was going to be relevant, but it is. And we are in Nehemiah chapter 1. We're getting into chapter 2. We've talked about the rubble. Nehemiah is a guy in the Bible who essentially shows up. His hometown, for lack of a better phrase, his home city is in ruins. There's rubble everywhere. And he shows up after asking permission from whom? The king. And he says, I want to go back and I want to fix my hometown. Now, we're not going to be able to review every week. So if you're brand new, you're jumping in, you're like, I don't know what's going on. You can go back on our website, nbyg.org. You can go to our YouTube channel, the NBYG, all one word, and you can catch up on any of the other talks. You can zoom ahead straight to the talk. It gives you the time code so you can catch up if you missed something. Nehemiah rebuilt this wall in 52 days with the help of a lot of people, and part of that wall that he built then, you can still see in Israel today. Parts of that wall that go back to Nehemiah, and we know that this is very likely parts of the wall that he worked on. And anytime you see this slide, you know that these are the things that you're going to write down. Now, I'm going to go really quick through some of these. This is more review, so you're not going to have time to write it down, but you'll have time later. We've said all along that a prophet is a person whose heart breaks at the things that break the heart of God. You say, okay, I'm not a prophet. That's an Old Testament Bible guy. You're a prophet. Many of you are prophets. A prophet is not a person who tells the future about the truth about the future. A prophet is somebody who tells the truth about the present. So forget the word prophet for a second. A mature teenager. Well, that was really effective, wasn't it? A mature teenager is a person whose heart breaks at the things that break the heart of God. When you encounter brokenness, you find a friend. Now we're not talking about a city that's in ruins, but you got a friend. And that friend is struggling with something. Nehemiah models for us that he sat and he wept. It's okay to sit and weep. Remember, this is all review, by the way. He knelt and he prayed. We talked about that. We'll do so more tonight. And then we talked about in your prayer, 4 different movements in a prayer when you pray. The Acts prayer. You pray adoration. You're telling God who He is. And then confession. That's letting God know who you are. And then thanksgiving, how I'm blessed. And then supplication, what I need. Again, really quick review. We've done this several weeks, so I know you're like, we've seen that. But I want to continue to lay this foundation, no pun intended. Nehemiah then, after he sat and he wept and he knelt and he prayed, Nehemiah stood and he got to work. But the minute that he got to work, somebody raise a hand and tell me, what do you think happened the minute that Nehemiah showed up and he got to work? Raise your hand and tell me what you think happened, Kate. Opposition. Because we said whatever God loves, Satan hates. And anytime you attach yourself to something that God loves, you should expect opposition. Let me ask this question. How many of you have ever been criticized by a parent or an authority figure for doing something that you should not have done? How many of you have ever been reprimanded, scolded, disciplined, or punished for doing something that you should not have done? Okay, fine. I think that's all of us. If you're not raising your hand, it's because you got your earbuds in, you're not paying attention, or you're not listening, or you are afraid to admit it. Every one of us. But let me ask you another question. How many of you have been scolded, reprimanded, ridiculed, made fun of for doing something that was right. I see some people like, I don't know that am I supposed to raise my hand for this? I'll tell you about one of my heroes. This was several years ago. We had a student in our group that came into this room. This was years ago. Their parents were not believers. They had become friends with somebody in the group. And they decided, we are, I want to be a part of what's going on at North Boulevard. And they started showing up. This was a younger student. And the younger student began to face ridicule, not from their classmates or their teammates or their friends, like, why are you going to church? But began to face ridicule from home, from their parents. Like, you're wasting your time. There's no point in going there. God's not real. Why are you going? Why are you doing this? Once I found that out, I already had respect for this student because I knew that their family didn't come here. And I was like, man, we have some families who can't get their kids to come here, and then here you are, your parents don't come, and you're showing up. Like, that's completely upside down. That is so awesome. And then I found out through a series of conversations that they were ridiculed every week, laughed at as they walked out the door to come to church because their parents said, that is a total waste of time. Why don't you do the kind of things that other teenagers are doing on a weeknight? I can't even imagine the courage it takes to show up in a room like this when you're facing ridicule for doing something that is right. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a hero. You should expect opposition. Remember the target last week? We actually had a target. And we put a target. Is David in the room? That we put a target on your chest. And we said, you're going to get a target. The minute that you say, I want to align myself with what God is doing in the world, you're going to get a target. The minute you say, I'm going to stay sober, you're going to get a target. The minute you say, I'm going to stay pure, you're going to get a target. The minute you say, hey, I'm not going to use that language in the locker room, you're going to get a target. The minute you say, I'm not laughing at that girl at the lunch table that sits by herself, you're going to get a target. And the list goes on. You all know because you show up. Last week, if you looked at the title for last week's lesson online, it was target practice, because that's the way many of you feel. You show up and you feel like you've got this gigantic target and you're like, I don't know what to do. But it's because you have aligned yourself with something that God loves. You should expect opposition. And when you join the fight, you become a target. And then this is where we actually ended up last week. We said rebuilding is going to require these things. So these are going to go on your brick. I don't think we wrote these. We've got about 20 minutes to do this, so let's go quickly. Rebuilding is going to require patience. It's going to require patience. Kate, we didn't talk about this today because I forgot. But are you prepared to talk here in a second, to share? Edie, you would? Okay. I had the coolest conversation. I'll tell you all, I've done this for a long time, done ministry for many years, and I called several people. I shared this with the New Day, my workshop at the New Day conference. I said, there are moments when, Satan just doesn't attack me in the ways that he used to when I was younger. In some ways, they're new ways. He's attacking me daily, by the way. It doesn't stop for some reason when you become an adult. It doesn't stop when you become a parent. It doesn't stop when you get married. The temptations change. But there's just a lot of things that I'm not tempted by. But the one way that Satan gets me all the time is he's always whispering in my ear. Now, I know it's a lie, so I'm not always tempted to believe it. So I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I don't need affirmation. I'm not looking for any positive feedback at all. But Satan will whisper into my ear all the time. They don't care. They're not showing up. You see the people that are there in the room? Do you realize that even though there was 170 in the room, there were 150 on your roll that weren't there? They don't care. If you were better, they'd show up. If you were better, she wouldn't have made this decision. If you were a better minister, he wouldn't have done that. That person would still be in church if you just were a little better at your job. Now, I know they're lies, but that's the way Satan gets at me. And it's always, that's my target. And it requires patience. And it requires patience to say, God, I know you're not done working in the life of that student yet. And Kate came up and she told me, she said, hey, I just wanted to tell you something. And I thought, rather than me sharing the story, I just wanted you to hear this. So we've got these mics up here. Can y'all come on up and grab these mics? We're going to turn both of these on, guys, in the back. We have 1 and 2. There we go. And we've not prepped this interview because I forgot until I saw you sitting out there that this was going to happen. But I was so excited about this. Kate, you came to me, and we're going to probably be, a little nebulous, but There are times that I share this and I'm thinking, I don't know that anybody listened. They wrote some stuff on their bricks, which means they at least heard it, but I don't know that it matters. And I sit at home, and then Kate the next day comes in and she says, we're going to take this seriously. Not take me seriously. They're going to take Nehemiah seriously. Kate, give us whatever background you want to give us.
So Edie and I, Edie doesn't usually go to church here, but she's recently started coming, and we go to school together. We've known each other since 4th grade, and so recently our friendship has grown into this deep, spiritually yoked friendship. And so starting senior year and everything, I think we both kind of felt the weight of so many heavy decisions and the heaviness of senior year, and just feeling pulled in so many different directions. And so she was spending the night at my house, and it was late. We were just talking about the burdens we're feeling. And so I was telling her, we're doing this series on Nehemiah at church. Nehemiah prayed for 4 months about this. And so she was like, well, let's pray for 4 months. And I was like, oh, okay. So the date was September 4th. So our 4-month date is January 4th. So every day we text each other and we say, hey, pray. And so we've been praying about the same thing every day. And so we text each other, we remind each other. Sometimes one of us will forget, but every day we text each other, and we've been praying about it.
You wrote a date down. Edie, I know we didn't prep this interview, so I hope you don't mind being put on the spot. What made you say, you know what, let's take Nehemiah seriously. Let's see if this will work.
Well, I think it's really important to learn from the people in the Bible. Obviously there's a lot of wisdom in that, and Nehemiah has done it successfully. So I was like, why don't we just model that behavior? I actually wasn't here for that lesson about prayer because I typically go to a different church, but when Kate told me that, it was just kind of hit my heart, and I was like, you know what, if this is a serious issue, then we should take it seriously and pray seriously the way that Nehemiah did, because our hearts were hurting the way his were.
I'm just hoping everybody in the room is hearing this, because I'm 52 and I'm blown away that a person who wasn't even there for that series hears a friend say, Nehemiah prayed for 4 months. The person who wasn't even there says, well, then what happened? Well, he got what he asked for. Well, then, okay, then why don't we do that? And there's a specific burden that they're praying about. They're like, here's this thing that we're really both concerned about. Let's pray for 4 months. When is that date? They look it up, January the 4th. That's going to be it. And we're going to pray. I have no idea what's going to happen on January 4th, but I was walking around the next day after Kate shared that on a prayer walk, and I was like, God, would you please do something for them by January the 4th? Because they're taking you seriously, you take them seriously, which is what Nehemiah did in his prayer. He said to God, God, you promised this, that you would do this, and I'm going to go and lead a revival to do it, and then you need to do what you said you would do. I have no idea what's going to happen on January the 4th or before January the 4th. I can't tell you how encouraged I was by that you said, So I want to challenge you. I shared that story with about 10 people that were in a pre-conference in this classroom over here. And I saw a lady taking some notes, and after it was over, she walked up and she just showed me the palm of her hand, and she had written a date. And I said, what's that? She said, that's my 4 months. I said, what do you mean? She said, the story you shared about those girls, I'm praying about something that I've been really frustrated by, that I just can't seem to see any breakthrough in, and I'm going to commit. I've been praying for it for days, for weeks, and nothing's been happening, and I've been tempted just to give up, thinking God apparently doesn't care. It's like last week. You remember when we had the Bible Bowl kids here and we all wrote prayer requests? About 3 days later, I went to get a table to take to my house for an event we're having. I opened this closet door under the Amico sign for all our tables and chairs. I opened it up. I looked down, and there was a prayer request written that had been slid underneath that door. It was written in very childish handwriting, because I could tell it was one of the kids that wrote it. Well, not exactly. It could have been some of you. I've seen your handwriting. And I picked this prayer request up, and it was underneath the door, and it said, my grandfather, I want him to come to faith. And would you pray for my grandfather? And I read it, and I realized that the kid had slid it under that door and then gone back to his seat, and nobody had seen that prayer request, and it had just sat there. It'd be easy for him to say if he opened that door later, and he were the one that found it, saying, oh, great, nobody's lifted this up. God knew about it the minute the kid wrote it down. And when he put it under the wrong door, the angels were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And God's like, I got it. I'm a little bit bigger than the wrong door. And so I picked it up and I put it with a stack with all of the others. And sometimes praying for something for 4 months feels like you put the prayer request under the wrong door. And you're like, God, are you there? Like, are you even in that room like you said you'd be? And I just wanted to commend you, and I asked if they'd be courageous enough to share that. 4 months, January the 4th. I need to ask you, I don't know what 4 months from today is. January 13th. I told Kate to be ready with it. She should be in charge. She's taking over from now on. January 13th. If you want to write down January 13th somewhere on your brick, and whatever it is that you say, I've been praying and praying and praying about, and I'm getting nowhere, you just write down January the 13th on your brick, and that's 4 months from today. And whatever it is, you'll know what it is. I want to thank you all. That was really, really cool. Let's thank you. You just set those, turn them off, and set them down right there. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, thank you. Hey, that's what it's about. It's going to require patience. If you're going to build, you're going to have to find somebody and say, we're going to pray for 4 months. And is 4 months magical? No, it just is what we see in the book of Nehemiah. It's going to require patience. It's also going to require preparation. Nehemiah didn't just sit and weep. He knelt and he prayed, and then what did he do? He stood and he got to work. He did something. So if you come to me and say, I'm so frustrated about this, Skid, I'm so sad about this, it is okay to sit and weep. But you better tell me that you've been kneeling and praying. Oh, I've been praying for months. Okay, fine. Then get up and do something. I'm not going to do anything until God does. No, sometimes God's not going to do something until you start working. You take a step. You remember the priests? In the Old Testament, when they were going to cross the Jordan River, they had to go and they had to put their foot in the water before the river was held up and parted so they could walk across. Because they'd already seen about the Red Sea. They knew the story of God parting the waters. And so they showed up at the Jordan River going, okay, we're going to wait for God to do that again. And God said, no. This time, you've got to take a step. You've already seen me do this. You've got to grow a little bit in your faith and trust that I'm going to take care of you. But you've got to put your foot in the water first. And some of you in the room have got to put your foot in the water. You can't just sit and weep about what's burdening you. Don't hear me to say if you're crying, I'm not saying get over it. I'm saying sit and weep, kneel and pray, and then I'm telling you to get up and get to work. It's going to require partnership. If you're going to build, it's going to require patience, which is what these girls demonstrated. It's going to require preparation. Let's pray for 4 months. And then it's going to require partnership. Hey, Edie, would you pray with me? Hey, Kate, would you pray with me for 4 months? Because I'm getting really weary doing this on my own. It's going to require partnership. And then it's going to require persistence. So you're going to write those words on your brick so that you can just kind of remember that. And there's a passage in Nehemiah that I love, and we're not going to have a bunch of time to get to it, but that's okay. We got all the time in the world throughout the series. We'll finish it at some point. But if you've got a Bible, I realize I should probably be putting the slide on the screen because most people are not bringing their Bibles to True North. I know you come from school, you come from practice, and man, awesome, those of you that come straight from work or practice to get here. Find a Bible, hide it somewhere in the building, put a Bible in your car, bring your Bible. If you got your phone, feel free to use it as a Bible. I'm always hesitant to say take your phones out and use it as a Bible because then it's like, it's free time. But I want us to read a passage from Nehemiah before we close tonight. We've been looking in Nehemiah chapter 1 and Nehemiah chapter 2 where Nehemiah actually shows up and he goes and he says, hey guys, you see the trouble that we are in. Let's get to work. And so they start building. That's Nehemiah 1 and 2. Now we're in chapter 3. It says, Eliashib, the high priest, and his fellow priest, they went to work and they rebuilt the sheep gate. Now you say, okay, now it's getting really boring. Like, oh, here it is. I knew Nehemiah was boring. But when you really start digging, you find so many cool things. The sheep gate. This is a 100,000 point question. What do you think came in through the sheep gate? Yes, that's why they called it the sheep gate. They're like, well, then wait till we get to the water gate. And then wait till we get to the dung gate. Okay, but I got it. So when they get to the sheep gate, they say, let's start with the sheep gate. Why do you think they started with the sheep gate? Because Nehemiah, I think, said this is the place where all of the sacrifices are brought in. And if we're going to get our people back to where they need to be, okay, let me call a timeout. Because if you're a youth group member, you're saying, I don't really care about Nehemiah and Bible days and Jews and Jerusalem. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad we got the story. But now you're a 11th grader. Now you're an 8th grader in 2023 or whatever grade you're in. And you're the Nehemiah. Whether you're a guy or a girl, you're the Nehemiah. And you say, hey guys, we have got Kate. and Edie say to one another, they're Nehemiahs. They just said, we're going to do what Nehemiah did. They say, look, we've got to start rebuilding passion in our group, and it's got to start with the way we worship and the way we sacrifice to God. So let's build the sheep gate first, and let's fix it, because that's where all the sacrifices come in. Let's get it right. So they start there. Notice it says they dedicated it. If you can listen, I know listening to the Bible is very difficult. Or you can read in chapter 3, I'm still in verse 1 or 2. They dedicated it, and they set its doors in place, building as far as the Tower of the 100, which they dedicated, and as far to the Tower of Hananel. Then the men of Jericho built the adjoining section, and Zakur, son of Imri, built next to them. Now, I almost had a 7th grade guy come up here to volunteer because they all would have raised their hands. They'd have been like, me, I want to get up there, let me up there. And I was going to say, okay, you're going to read for us as fast as you can Nehemiah chapter 3. Y'all, there are so many names in Nehemiah chapter 3. It is hilarious to watch. You just go home tonight and try to read it out loud. Read it to a friend, and it is so fun to try to watch people even me, try to go through those names. It is so easy to say, hey, let's just go right on to Nehemiah chapter 4, because Nehemiah 3, it's a bunch of names, and it's like, names you can't even say, and I don't know if you can see what I have underlined in my this is a picture of my actual Bible. Can you see the screen? You guys have young eyes. What does it say? Next to them, next to him, next to him, next to them, next to him, next to them, next to him. And it keeps on going. 23 times in chapter 3, it tells us Nehemiah writes down everybody's name and what they did. Why does this even matter? I think it's so cool because Nehemiah, the second in command of the king, he knew every single person's name that was working with him. And he tells us that some of them were goldsmiths, and some of them were perfume makers, and some of them were artists, and some of them were musicians. These weren't builders. And guess what? You can tell when you see that wall, when you go to Jerusalem. My friend that's been there says, you can tell it was rudimentary. It was not very well built, but they got it built in 52 days. Nehemiah said, we got to get the walls of the city back up. And everybody did their part. But he said, you're going to work next to him. You're going to work next to them. And Nehemiah records every bit of it because names are important. Nehemiah says, I want everybody to get credit for the fact that they all said, I've been weeping and I've been kneeling and praying. And Nehemiah says, when I got to work, a bunch of other people said, we'll join you. And he says, I want everybody's name. When I think of a list of names, I think about the Declaration of Independence, or maybe a far less significant, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, where you have all the stars of all these people who have done significant things. And it's just fun to go and find your favorite celebrity. Or more meaningful, the Vietnam War Memorial, all of these names of people who gave their life in one of our nation's deadliest wars. And then this summer, many of us who went to Shiloh, we spent a part of the morning going to the 9/11 Memorial, and many of you have been there, or if not, you've seen it, many of you saw it on the news, these 2 large fountains, and they're in the footprints of the towers, and all around are these names. And they're not in alphabetical order, as you might think. Some of you know this. The names are in order based on connections that they had to the people that were close to them, whether it was people they worked with or the time that something happened. There's a significance to how they're laid out. It's not just by names. And when you're there, if it's the birthday of one of the members, or one of the people who lost their lives in the towers, there's a white rose that is placed in their name. The name is hollow because lights shine up through it at night, and they put the rose there, and you see all of these birthdays memorialized. And when their birthday's gone, they take the flower out, so you know every day whose birthday it is. And then we came across this one, if you look at the bottom, because one of the kids asked the question, one of the teens said, did any kids die in the towers? Did any children die? And it just happened to be that I looked it up, and I said, no, all the kids that were in the daycare centers, they all got them out, but the only child that died was the unborn child of Sylvia Resta. And that child's name is memorialized here. And it just so happened that we looked that up, and we looked down, and we were standing there at this spot where it mentions the only child who lost their life. Because names are important. Now, those names are memorials. These are people that died. This is not so much that. That was significant. The picture I just showed you is powerful. Less powerful is this one. But this is what's going on in Nehemiah chapter 3. This is the credits at the end of the movie where we're going to show you who played all the big parts. Now, you recognize these names, whether you're a nerd or not. You know Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill, Alec Guinness. You know this is, if I had just shown you the names of the actors or actresses, you could have told me the movie because you know that. However, if I had shown you this slide, you might have guessed that it was Star Wars. How could you might have guessed that this was Star Wars? Because it mentions things like creature technicians and things like that. You don't see a whole lot of names that you recognize, but every single one of those people contributed to making that movie significant, and they're all there in every movie. Now, we stay for the credits these days because there's a post-credit scene. And there were some people that said the post-credit scene started because there were directors that said, I'm tired of people walking out during the credits. Well, who wants to watch the credits? Well, they play good music, but nobody cares to see all those names. And a director says, this movie wouldn't have been there had it not been for all those names. And so Nehemiah says, I'm going to put this here so that everybody can see all of these names. And Nehemiah chapter 3 is going to be every name of every person. And so we wrap up tonight by simply saying that the work of God, if I were writing a book right now of what's going on right now, it would say, and then Kate prayed for something so specific, and this is the thing that she prayed for, and she prayed for it with Edie, who was next to her. And your name would be there. Or would it? The names that were written there are the people that did the work. I had Kate go through today. This is the last thing I'll show you. And I said, Kate, I want to give you a list of the whole NBYG. So here it is. Here it is. Right now, in case you know, there are 303 names on the roster. Names of people that are identified with the NBYG. Not just visitors that have come to things, but these are all the people that said, I want my name to be on the roll. There's not 303 people here. I'm not saying those that aren't here aren't bad or that they're not working. They may be doing something more meaningful than what we're doing here. But I said, Kate, I want you to highlight every name of somebody who's got a brick up here. So she, and maybe Emily, did Emily do this too? Emily, a priest, they walked through and they looked through all these names and they called them off. And if that person had a brick, Landon Qualls, yep, got a brick. Selvin Stevenson, yep, got a brick. Cooper Rich, yep, got a brick. And they wrote down the names and highlighted of everybody that had a brick. And then I said this, I said, hey, just because I was surprised we ordered 200 bricks and they're all gone, but there's never been 200 people, 200 teens here. And I said, well, a lot of people are coming one week, but not the next week. And then I said, I want you to write down the name of everybody who's got a brick that is not on our roll. I was so amazed to see this list. You can't read it from way back there, but this list of all the people who showed up, who aren't technically on our roll, but who said, I want to be a part of the work. And then there were 4 names they couldn't identify because they couldn't read your handwriting. And then there are all of these names in white that aren't highlighted. I haven't counted them. I'm not judging them. I'm not mad at them. I'm not trying to shame them. I'm just saying there's something going on in their life that makes them say, I don't right now need to be a part of that, what's going on there. So some of you are sitting and weeping. Somebody in our group is at home. One of these people whose names is not highlighted is at home sitting and weeping. And that's sad for us, but we want to get them to kneeling and praying, and then we want to get them to working. And they say, but Skid, you don't know what I've been praying for, and it's just not happened. And if God's not going to deliver to me, then I'm not going to give him what he wants from me. And so we say, would you just get out your hand and just write January 14th, 13th? Would you just pray till January 13th and then let's talk again? So we didn't get that far tonight, but I just pray that your name is on that list of people, but it's not going to last long if you're not next to somebody. So who are you going to stand next to and work next to? And then the opposition really started. And next week we're going to talk about what happens when somebody comes to you and says, just who do you think you are and just what do you think you're doing? And it's a word that everybody needs to hear. God, I thank you for these students. I thank you for the testimony that we heard. And I thank you for the book of Nehemiah. And I thank you for all of these bricks. And I thank you for Jesus. And I thank you for healing and the healing that you're going to give to the people that we prayed for. And I thank you, God, for all the great things you're going to do in the lives of the students in this room. And it's through the name of Jesus that we all pray and we all say together, amen. God bless you guys. Have a great night. Take care.